How to be a lesbian. Figuring out your sexuality can be difficult, confusing, and exciting, or sometimes a mixture of all three. Being attracted to other women doesn't change the core of who you are, but it can be a big part of your identity, and it's normal to want to explore that, even if it feels intimidating at the same time. No matter what, being kind, compassionate, and curious will help you accept and love yourself just as you are. Method 1: Recognizing and accepting your sexuality. Step 1: Remember that you can define your sexuality for yourself. When you're exploring your sexual identity, it's important to remember that sexuality is a spectrum. That means that you might have feelings for both men and women, for just women, or for very few people at all. Your sexuality might even shift over time. This might feel confusing or even scary, but it's completely normal. Wherever your sexuality falls is where it's supposed to be. Remember that there are also no right ways to be lesbian, straight, bisexual, or any other sexual identity. Your identity is defined by who you are, not any stereotypes or expectations. Step 2: Explore your feelings with patience and curiosity. Looking more closely at your sexuality might feel intimidating, especially if it's something you've avoided for a while. Remind yourself that you're safe. Just because you're thinking about your feelings doesn't mean you have to act on them or tell anyone if you're not ready. Simply start to think about the way you feel about other girls in romantic relationships, recognizing and accepting your feelings with honesty and compassion. Try to reframe this process in your head. Exploring your sexuality is a good thing, and it might even start feeling exciting. Tip: Do your best not to judge yourself. Take a step back to really look at how you feel, and be kind and open to any feelings that come up. Step 3: Accept and confront any fears or hesitations you have about your sexuality. If you're uncomfortable, scared, or even in denial about your feelings, start to think about why this might be the case. Recognizing and accepting, or even confronting, any negative feelings you have about your sexuality can teach you a lot about yourself. Instead of fighting those negative emotions, accept them as a part of this journey and remind yourself that they don't have power over you. For example, if you're feeling embarrassed or ashamed, think about what those feelings might stem from, like long-held romantic beliefs from family or media. Little by little, start to pick apart the reasoning behind your negative feelings. You might realize, for example, that just because you were raised to think that certain things are normal or right, doesn't mean those ideas have to control who you are now. Step 4: Be confident in who you are, even when it's hard. Your sexuality can feel like a core part of you, and exploring or questioning it can make you feel scared or uncertain about who you are and where you fit in. Embracing who you are might be hard right now, but it's the best thing you can do. Loving yourself and being confident in who you are will make it easier to accept your sexuality and even share it with others, when you're ready. Step 5: Remember that your sexuality is only one aspect of your identity. Being a lesbian doesn't make you a different person, and there are no rules about what you can do or think because of your sexuality. Keep on doing the things that make you happiest, whether that's school, hobbies, work, or spending time with family and friends. If you're feeling conflicted, confused, or scared, lean on the things that make you the happiest. Remind yourself of who you are and what you love, and remember that being lesbian won't change those things. Step 6: Think about seeing a therapist to confide in and get professional advice. A therapist, especially one who specializes in LGBT issues, can be a great resource for advice if you're having trouble coming to terms with your sexuality. Therapists are required by law to keep their patients' information confidential, which means that you can talk to them about your sexuality without fear of them telling anyone else. Therapists are required to report abuse and things that could harm you or others, like thoughts of suicide. Method 2: Finding support. Step 1: Look for LGBT groups on the internet or in your community. See if there are any LGBT support groups in your area, or look for forums and communities online. Finding people going through the same thing as you can help you feel less alone and more like part of a community. Look for online and in-person groups that seem legitimate, with connections to LGBT organizations or therapists. If you're not comfortable talking yet, just log in or sit in on sessions to listen. Step 2: Talk to a close friend or family member that you trust. If there's someone in your life who you can trust, though, confiding in them about your sexuality can help you feel stronger and less alone. They'll be able to give you support when you need it, and maybe advice as well. Pay attention to friends and family members who seem open and accepting. They might mention having LGBT friends or even talk about their own sexual orientation. Start the conversation when you're alone and say something like, "I'm not ready to tell anyone else this yet, but I think I'm a lesbian." Step 3. Read or watch shows about lesbians to feel like part of a community. Taking in LGBT supportive media, like TV shows, movies, and books, is an easy, low-risk way to start finding a community and a place you belong. Seeing people like you in the media can also help you feel more confident in yourself. For books, try reading Annie on My Mind by Nancy Garden, or The Bermudas Triangle by Maureen Johnson. If you're not sure how someone will respond, bring up lesbian movies or shows, or talk about general LGBT issues, like the Supreme Court's decision to allow gay marriage. See whether they seem respectful or against the idea. Step 5. Avoid telling people who seem unsupportive or untrustworthy. You don't have to talk to every person in your life about your sexuality, and there are some cases when it's better not to. Follow your gut instincts and don't feel pressured to tell someone, no matter how close to them you are. If you don't think you'd be able to handle it emotionally, consider not telling them for now. Method 3. Exploring relationships. Step 1. Recognize that you might need more time before pursuing a relationship. If you're just starting to accept your sexuality, you might not be ready for a relationship, and that's okay. Work to accept your identity first, then start reaching out to others. Tip: don't feel pressured by other people's experiences or relationships. Only you know when you're ready to start dating. Step 2. Connect with people you know or go online if you're ready to start dating. Dating apps and websites are great resources if you're not sure how to start meeting other girls. Look for ones that are geared towards or popular with LGBT users. If you're comfortable with it, you can also ask people you know to help you find dates or people to connect with. Talking to friends and family might feel awkward, but they know you better than anyone. They'll know if a potential date is a good match or not, even better than an app or website. Try dating apps and sites like Leslie, Plenty of Fish, and Femme. Step 3. Get to know the other person before asking them out. Take your time before setting up a date with someone you like. You want to make sure they're also interested in women, but beyond that, you also want to see if you have a genuine connection. Talk about things she's passionate about, her dreams and aspirations, and what she likes to do in her spare time. See if you feel a spark or just enjoy being around her. When you feel ready, see if she'd like to get dinner, see a movie, or do something fun together. Step 4. Accept your partner's level of openness with her sexuality. Women that you meet and date might be in different places in their lives than you are, especially when it comes to accepting and being open about their sexuality. You might be able to pick up on this from non-verbal cues, like whether she holds your hand in public, or you might want to have a conversation about it. Be patient and accepting of wherever she's at. You could say something like, "I was wondering if you're out to your friends and family." "I am, but it's okay if you're not." Step 5. Let intimacy develop naturally. You might be in a rush to be intimate with another woman, a little scared by the idea, or a mixture of both. Try to be patient and calm when it comes to getting physical with a partner. You might not be ready, she might not be ready, or you both might be unsure. Remember to use safe sex practices, like female condoms or dental dams. Step 6. Remember that dating lesbians is just like entering any other relationship. The essence of a date doesn't change depending on your sexual orientation. Dating is about getting to know someone one-on-one, flirting, and having fun no matter who you are with. If you remember to be polite, learn to listen instead of talk, and try and have fun, you'll make the date great for both you and your partner. You don't need to change who you are or what you do once you've identified as a lesbian. Be yourself, whether you're on a date or not. Thanks for watching and remember subscribe.